With us now here at Film TV Studios is Leonard Lither, who is running for a seat in Clark County School District Board, District E. Leonard, welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you. Nice to be here. So running for School Board District E, which is largely in the Summerlin area. A little bit north, a little bit east of Summerlin. Pretty big district, actually.
Okay. And there's a part, the Southwest is one of the fastest growing community the past 4 years. And,
Would you please tell our viewers some background about yourself before we go into other questions?
Of course. Well, first of all, I've been a teacher for the last 19 years in 3 different countries, including South Korea, China, and now here in America.
Wow.
I've been a licensed teacher here in CCSD for the last 7. I have 2 children, both in middle school. One goes for Tita, one goes to Walter Johnson. As a parent, I've seen the struggles that parents have to face. For many years, my wife would not visit our child's school because she felt that alienated. And as a teacher, I see kind of both sides, what the parents are dealing with, what the teachers. So,
Leonard, are you challenging an incumbent, or is this an open seat?
This is an open seat. The last incumbent, Lola Brooks, she's not running again.
I see. And what issue or issues are important to you that you want to represent your district in the CCSD board?
You know, that's a hard question in a way, because there are so many important policies, because I've seen it again from both sides.
Okay.
I believe, first of all, graduation rates have to increase. So like 82%, it's terrible. School behavior. People are often talking about the behavior of students, restorative justice, pros and cons. And there needs to be consequences to students' actions. And I've seen that happen too often where kids don't receive that. So then by the time they get to middle school, that behavior is locked in. So there needs to be that, but there also needs to be social workers and people to provide that background services. So it's a complicated issue. One thing I'd also like to do is increase foreign language in middle school. So, you know, if you take foreign language in middle school, that actually gives you high school credits.
Yes.
My oldest son just finished Chinese level 2 in middle school, and so when he's starting high school, he'll actually start with 6 high school credits.
Fantastic.
It's an important issue, I think.
So what important decisions about our schools is the board empowered to do?
A lot of them, because you know, they obviously create policies. I feel like they create a lot of policies, but they don't always make sure those policies are actually being implemented. So that's one of the big difficulties. They also hire and evaluate the superintendent, which is obviously very important. Part of the problem was last time I feel like they hired a superintendent, they did a really bad job of supervising that superintendent. Plus, they gave a lot of additional authority to that person. And it's their job to make sure that these policies that they create are actually being implemented. And if they're not, to question why. And they never seem to answer any of those questions.
Okay, I know you had just, the CCSD is currently on a hunt for a new superintendent after Mr. Jara was terminated or left the CCSD. As a classroom teacher, Leonard, what things are you very passionate about that needed to be done by the board if you are elected to that position?
So I believe there's a couple bigger issues. I feel one of them is obviously behavior, but another one is diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Yes.
And a good example of this is both my children are half Chinese, and my youngest son was in the choir last year at his elementary school. And I love the elementary school, and I do believe they did a good job. But during February, they had a choir event where parents came and watched the kids, and they connected it to Black History Month, which they should have. And it was a great event. Unfortunately, a couple months later, Asian American Pacific Islander Month, and again, they could have done something, but they connected it only to Cinco de Mayo. Now, I understand we have a lot of Latinos, a lot of people from that descent, but they could have done at least 1 or 2 songs or something. So diversity, equity needs to be to all, and including equity. I know recently the governor did not fund the free lunch program, and I do believe that's quite strong, and that's something we need to continue, because when you see a hungry child in your classroom, it just breaks your heart. Behavior is also a huge thing. I've seen kids throw chairs and we evacuate the classroom. Last year, I saw a kid pick up a 20-pound rock and try to attack another child. So behavior needs to be managed a lot better than it is, and there's actually a lot of mechanisms that the district already has in place. Unfortunately, there's little to no training, policies being followed through, and it just needs to come together. And some people might say that it's not because of funding, and honestly, most of what needs to be fixed doesn't deal with the funding issue.
Yes.
So there's a lot we can do in both of those topics.
So unfortunately, we're almost at the end of our segment for today. Is there anything you would like to say to your voters?
You know, first I'd like to say I'm actually the only working teacher in the district that's actually running. And a lot of voters may not be aware that if I'm elected, I will have to step down from my job. And my focus is to actually spend a pretty good amount of time just being a trustee, to research who you're voting for. Because if they actually look at the other candidates, I believe they would actually choose me. And if they don't, at least they'll be an informed voter.
Okay, sounds good. Leonard Lither for Clark County School Board District E. Thank you for making the time to talk to us today.
Thank you for having me.